This guy made a viral video about economics that's pretty rare. And the whole point of his video is he's defending Democrats, saying that you can't blame Democrats for inflation. And pretty much everything he says is wrong. And so I'm going to play this video for you and explain to you what the truth is.
Welcome back to my series where I disassemble political arguments in 60 seconds or less because I don't have all day. I've consistently heard the argument that Democrats are to blame for inflation. First of all, inflation is a global problem. For example, the European Union just hit its highest level of inflation ever at 10.9%. Turkey's inflation rate is at 83%. And for comparison, the US is at 8.5%. Now,
Okay, so his first argument here is that it's not the Democrats' fault because Turkey has higher inflation, that it's a global problem and therefore it's not our problem. Turkey is a terrible comparison. They're a little tiny country. They got big problems in Turkey, bigger than inflation. Okay, I think he picked Turkey because it sounds really high, but that's an awful comparison. Next, he compares us to the EU, which is a little bit more of a valid comparison, but it's actually the other way around. The world has inflation problems because we have an inflation problem. America is the world reserve currency. The petrodollar is the world reserve currency. So they have to inflate because we're inflating. So he's already wrong there. And the thing about this guy is I know he sounds really smart because he talks really fast and he says facts. He's saying facts, but they're arranged in a way that's incorrect. And so he's probably tough to win a debate with because he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but I can already tell he's not a deep thinker. He just memorizes things.
Cost inflation worldwide is best explained not by anything the Democrats did, but rather by ECON 101. The entire world was hit by COVID, which caused massive drops in employment and production, which lowered supply. Most countries rebounded quickly because of health policies and vaccines, and demand resumed faster than expected.
Oh, okay. So now he's saying there was COVID and that caused supply to go down. Whose idea was it for everyone to stay home? You can't go to work. You can't see your family. You can't go to church. You can't leave your house without your vaccine passport. Whose idea was that everyone stays home? Okay, so that ruined supply. But then next he says, and demand came back so much faster because the vaccines were so wonderful. They were so good. They were better than expected, these vaccines were. And it caused demand to come back really quickly. We beat COVID with our immune systems and the vaccines did not fucking work. So he's telling two lies right there.
So high demand and low supply meant that prices were bound to rise everywhere. But most importantly, the largest source of inflation in the US is corporate greed. 54 cents of every extra dollar you're paying for products is going directly into the pockets of corporations, which is why their profit margins have hit their highest level since 1950. They are
okay, and so this is such a played out. He's blaming corporate greed. And who is corporations? Are corporations not Democrat? Who are all the top Democrat donors? Is corporations. Democrats are corporations and Republicans too, to a large extent. So you can't separate the two. There's a solution. When corporations are jacking up their prices, there's a solution to that, but it's probably not a solution that he likes. The solution is called free market capitalism. When you have corporations start to price gouge, then another business can come in and compete with them and offer a lower price. But that doesn't always happen because of all the government regulation. They use government regulation to keep other businesses out of their area. And that is equally about Democrats and Republicans. I would say a little more Democrat, but we'll just be fair on this one.
Jacking up prices because they think most Americans will never figure this out and will just blame inflation on the party in power. So if you're looking for someone to address corporate greed and lower inflation, I'd hedge my bets on the party who just stood up to corporations and passed a 15% minimum tax on them, and not the party who gave them a $2 trillion tax cut they didn't need. Vote blue. Welcome back.
Vote blue. Inflation is caused by one thing and one thing only. Inflation is caused when the government creates more money out of thin air. Okay? The reason a loaf of bread used to cost 10 cents and now it costs $3 is because inflation. It's not that because the producer of the bread used to make it for 2 cents and they're still charging you $3 and pocketing the difference. No. It used to cost them 2 cents to make and now it costs them $1.50 to make. And so therefore they have to ask a higher price of you. And that has to do with a lot of things. But the main thing is the creation of currency. And we just created a lot of currency. Billions to Ukraine, billions in bailouts to corporations and banks. You saw that every time you hear it, it's like billions and trillions. There's so much money they're creating. Democrats and Republicans together. But just remember this is the main point. Fiscal policy is set by the Congress. And that has been Democrat this entire time. And I'm not saying that Republicans don't have anything to do with it, but let's be real here. It was Congress that created all this money, and it was both presidents by executive order. So 100% blame Democrats, and probably to a certain extent, you can throw a lot of Republicans in there too. Vote independent.